Konnichiwa minasan. Now, I know I have gotten a very traditional getup on, and you're going to assume that I'm going to talk about something very sanskari. No, guys, we are going to do the exact opposite. We are going to talk about something very non-sanskari or non-traditional. We are going to rank top 10 BL anime of all time. So, if you guys want to stick around, then trust me, at least one of the anime mentioned in this list might just click with you, and there is something in it for everybody from the anime I am going to mention now. And without further ado, let's get started with number 10, Junjo Romantica. Now, you guys must respect the classics, okay? And Junjo Romantica is kind of personal for me because the relationship between the second couple, Nowaki and Hiroki, closely resembles my parents. Now, I don't know what that says about my upbringing or what kind of a person that makes me, but the banter between them and the way these two just see each other closely resembles the banter between my parents pre-marriage and post me moving out of their house. So, my mom is a teacher and my dad is a doctor, similar to Nowaki and Hiroki, which is why I connected with this series more than its spin-off Sekaiichi Hatsukoi. So if you guys want something better to do other than binge Kumkum Bhagya or any other Ekta Kapoor daily soap serial, then please check out Junjo Romantica. You're gonna have a ball with this one. It lasts for 3 seasons and it's an easy binge. So on that note, Junjo Romantica gets an 8.5 out of 10 for intimacy and a 7 out of 10 for plot, because granted there are some problematic elements in it, but I'll get to that in another video. And it is a dramatic romantic mess that is definitely worth your time. Let's move on to number 9.5, Cherry Magic. Now, Cherry Magic revolves around Adachi, who is a 30-year-old guy and still a virgin like the rest of us, and Adachi just leads his life on autopilot, going to office, coming home, done for the day. But all of that changes when Adachi realizes that he has the power to read minds of people when he touches them, because according to this anime, if you've been a virgin for 30 years, then you can ultimately be a telepath. So Adachi is not very thrilled about this because you don't want the cashier to think that you're creepy. So he is just trying to avoid touching people, but his life changes for the better when he accidentally bumps into Kurosawa, who is his picture-perfect colleague at work, and discovers that Kurosawa, for the better or worse, has the biggest crush on him. And Adachi is kind of insecure about it, like, why would this shoujo prince fall for an average guy like me? But eventually, when these two just get together and explore the nitty-gritties of being in a relationship, it just pays off. And in the end, when they show Adachi and Kurosawa getting married, I just squealed with joy. So these 12 episodes are very, very wholesome to watch. And if you guys are bored of your classic high school romance anime, then please give Cherry Magic a try. You are going to relate with this anime in some aspect or the other. There is also a side couple, and I'm not a big fan of them, but it's fine. They are sort of engaging enough because they don't take up so much screen time compared to Adachi and Kurosawa. So in terms of intimacy, Cherry Magic gets an 8 out of 10, and in terms of plot, it gets an 8.5 out of 10. And with that, if you're done checking out Cherry Magic, let's move on to number 9, Antique Bakery. Now, Antique Bakery is a show that will give you diabetes because they make the cakes look like heaven, and the desserts shown in this anime are very, very appetizing. Like, before Food Wars, there was Antique Bakery. But that being said, Antique Bakery also has great character writing. And if you love shows like Pretty Little Liars or Cruel Summer, then Antique Bakery is your jackpot, because our characters are suffering from trauma in one form or the other. We are talking about kidnapping, PTSD, assault, and rejection from high school romance. And so, Antique Bakery is definitely worth your time. And Antique Bakery gets a 9 out of 10 for plot and 7 out of 10 for intimacy. Now, let's move on to number 8.5, Tadaima Okaeri. So, Tadaima Okaeri, if you guys already know, I might have reviewed it in my shorts, and I might have also talked about it in my unpopular opinion video. I just don't click with the Omegaverse. I don't think it is for me, because if we replace the Omega with a well-written female character, then it's going to be the same as a normal romance story, but more wholesome. But despite that, I think Tadaima Okaeri manages to keep you hooked, because it shows you what a beautiful family life is supposed to look like. When you look at the family of Masaki, Hiromu, Hinata, Hikari, you will want these people to adopt you, because Masaki and Hiromu easily make very good parents. And in this show, I think if you replace Masaki with Kurosaki Masaki from Bleach, then nothing would change. But despite that, I think Masaki makes a really good mom. So, on that, Tadaima Okaeri gets an 8 out of 10 for intimacy and 9.5 out of 10 for plot, because sometimes Tadaima Okaeri reminds you of the much more serious episodes of Shinchan when it's focusing on Mitsuki and Hiroshi's backstory. So if you're a diehard fan of Shinchan, then you must know this. And if you guys really want to check out some good wholesome family drama, then Tadaima Okaeri is just for you. There is also a side couple which is more interesting than the side couples in Cherry Magic. So I highly recommend Tadaima Okaeri, because it is worth your time and it will lift you up when you're having a really bad day. And on that note, let's move on to number 8, Skate the Infinity. Skate the Infinity revolves around pretty boys skating. So we have Reiki here, who's my spirit animal, and we have Langa here, who is like the naturally gifted skater, because apparently, according to this anime, snowboarding is closely related to skating, and these guys just hang out at this illegal skating rink S. And it is run by Adam, who is the hybrid child of Hisoka and Mahito. So if that doesn't tell you what a horrible, inhumane, sick person he is, then I don't know what description to give, because Adam treats his partner Tadashi like a dog. Like, bro, I know you're a psychopath, but this is a downright inhumane and the most disgusting thing you can do to your partner. So, like, please don't do that. You don't even deserve Tadashi. And also, we have Cherry-sama and Joe, who just look too hot together, and I'm gonna adopt Mia. So with all the cast of these colorful characters, Skate the Infinity turns into a different show when you watch it in dub, and it is hilarious. You're gonna have a really good time with it. It is easily one of the shows you can watch with your family. And if you missed Killua being on a skateboard in Hunter x Hunter. So with that, Skate the Infinity gets an 8 out of 10 in terms of plot and an 8 out of 10 in terms of intimacy. And let's move on to number 7.5, Twilight Out of Focus. Now, Twilight Out of Focus is an anime that you should watch before you sleep if you want to get wet dreams, because the way these teenagers get intimate with each other is out of this world, okay? Easily one of the most hottest lovemaking scenes, second only to Mignon. And Twilight Out of Focus focuses on 3 couples, and over the course of 12 episodes, you kind of get attached to some of these characters. Like, my favorite couple is Hisashi and Mao, and the second couple is fine, and the third couple is just downright irritating. I know some people might just be into the hopeless romantic trope, but there is a limit to how desperate you can get to find a boyfriend, and running around clubs in college is not the answer to it. However, Mao and Hisashi are roommates, and these guys are part of a class that works on BL movies and is a part of the high school movie club. So Mao is the cameraman, Hisashi is the lead actor, and Hisashi is like an out and proud gay guy. But my guy Hisashi needs therapy because he was kicked out of his house after being abused by his teacher and his stepsister. So I'm really happy that he found Mao, who is easily such a sweet character. So if you want to get proper sleep with wet dreams, then Twilight Out of Focus in terms of plot gets an 8 out of 10, and in terms of intimacy up to 9 out of 10. So please check it out. Let's move on to number 7, The Summer Hikaru Died. Now, The Summer Hikaru Died might have been on my summer anime review list because it is a horror anime, and It revolves around Yoshiki finding out that his friend Hikaru is no more and is now replaced by an entity called Nonoki-sama, who is really dangerous because Nonoki-sama kind of committed couple of murders in the sleepy town these two reside in. So the summer Hikaru dies does have some jump scares and is more of a psychological thriller, but nevertheless, if you are a horror fan, then I think this is a decent one-time watch. And since Yoshiki did tell Hikaru that, listen, we are too deep into this and we can't back out now, so I'm gonna shoulder this scene with you, and especially the scene in episode 5 or 6 will definitely give you yaoi vibes. So if you are a fan of horror, mystery, and supernatural, and you want a bit slice of life mixed into it, then This Summer Hikaru Died is worth your time. And in terms of intimacy, it gets a 7.5 out of 10, but in terms of plot, it gets a 9 out of 10. Let's move on to number 6.5. Windbreakers! Yes, I know my obsession with this anime is unhealthy. You guys know, if you have watched my spring season anime review, that Windbreakers got a 9.5 out of 10, and more than half my shots are dedicated to the characters surrounding Windbreakers because it is that amazing. Windbreakers is the best delinquent manga and anime out there, period. It is better than Tokyo Revengers, and it is a million times better than Lookism. The fights are well choreographed. Every conversation between the characters just gives you a moral lesson, and I love it so much. And if you guys want therapy for Kit Kat Gojo, you have Hajime Umemiya, who is played by the same voice actor, by the way. So Windbreakers is your literal therapy. And you also have Tsubaki-san, who is hot and dances like a deity, and Tsubaki-san takes Windbreakers from a good show to a great show. And also, there is something definitely going on between Sakura and Suo. Okay, Suo's aura farming is out of this world, but when you take the way these two just talk to each other and you just copy paste their dialogues in a shoujo romance anime, then they blend in pretty easily, and you're almost thinking that Sakura and Suo just might be a couple in the future. So with that, in terms of intimacy and plot, Windbreakers gets a 9.5 out of 10. But if you're talking solely in terms of intimacy, Windbreakers gets an 8 out of 10. And I think Windbreakers is definitely an anime you should watch if you are plagued with this masala movies overload and masi genre. Number six. Now, number six, if you try to watch it legally, is pretty hard to find because I don't know in which platform it's available. But once you catch hold of it in the depths of the internet, then number six is kind of worth your time if you are a fan of the dystopian genre and if you are fed up with garbage like Gunpath or Divergent, or if you just wanted Kalki but without Prabhas fan service. Now, number six revolves around our main characters, Shion and Nezumi. And no, I am not kidding. Nezumi really means a rat, and that guy uses mechanical rats as messengers to go back and forth between the rich dystopian city to the slum underdeveloped city. And then ensues a very chaotic conspiracy by the government and a very chaotic relationship between Shion and Nezumi. Like, these two just go from being two confused people to trusting each other completely at the end of the series. And thank God this series has a happy ending, because if it ended with the death of one of our protagonists, then maybe I would have ranked it higher, but my mental health couldn't take it. So in terms of intimacy, number 6 gets a 7.5 out of 10, and in terms of plot, number 6 gets an 8.5 out of 10. I just wish they expanded more on the dynamic between Shion and Nezumi and more on the world building, but regardless, it keeps you hooked and entertained throughout 11 episodes. So if you want Divergent but done better without loopholes, then number 6 is just for you. Let's move on. And at number 5.5, we have My Senpai is an Otokonoko. Now, for those of you who don't know what an Otokonoko is, it is a male cross-dressing as a female. So basically, Rajpal Yadav from Earth. So, My senpai is an Otokonoko revolves around our main character, Makoto senpai here, who loves to cross-dress, but obviously his mother does not accept this fetish. And so Makoto senpai just hides it from her and goes to school and cross-dresses as a girl, and he meets his junior, Aoi, who confesses her love to him while he is cross-dressed as a girl. And Makoto is just like, no, I'm actually a guy, and I'm sorry to actually fool you like this. And she is just like, that's even better, I'll get to enjoy both the sides of you. And so Makoto is just confused. Now Makoto also has a best friend, Ryoji, and Ryoji also has an unrequited crush on Makoto, and on the surface it just looks like a normal romance anime with your classic love triangle. But as the episodes go by, this anime will hit you with questions that is going to question the existence of your Tinder or Hinge profiles, because it asks you questions like, hey, are you in a relationship with someone because you genuinely love that person, or just to make that person happy, or you don't want to break the friendship with your significant other? And what does being a special person mean to you? What is your definition of that person being special to you? Do you really see them in a romantic light? And it also gives a very beautiful message of self-discovery and not running away from your identity, because the ending of My Senpai is an Otokonoko is easily one of the most wholesome endings I've ever seen in an anime. And I really think it is worth your time if you are just fed up of shallow shoujo romance anime. So, My Senpai is an Otokonoko, in terms of plot, gets a 9.5 out of 10, and in terms of intimacy, it gets a 7.5 out of 10. And I think that if you're a part of LGBTQ community, then you definitely should check this anime out, because this anime tells you that it's okay if you don't identify within the label. You should accept yourself, and you deserve to be accepted, and everybody needs an Aoi in their life. She is a golden retriever, and she just accepts you for who you are. And also seeing Aoi just find happiness is really, really wholesome. So with that, if you need therapy, then definitely go for it. Let's move on to number 5. We have a donghua here, Heaven Official's Blessing. Now, Heaven Official's Blessing is for all you fantasy enthusiasts out there who love intricate detail to world building, because the first season of Heaven Official's Blessing does exactly that. So it revolves around our fallen deity, Xielian, and our demon king, Huacheng here. And the dynamic between these two is just fire. The chemistry between these two is out of this world, enough to set your heart ablaze, and it keeps you thoroughly entertained over the course of 2 seasons. The second season of Heaven Official's Blessing answers the mystery that the first season has set up for us, and it is better than the first season because you get more intimate moments between Xielian and Huacheng, and the inner child in me was just screaming. So if you want a proper bedtime story, then this anime is just for you. So I'm not going to spoil much more of this anime. I really think you should check it out for yourself. And Heaven Official's Blessing, in terms of plot, gets a 9 out of 10. And in terms of intimacy, it gets an 8.5 out of 10. Let's move on. At number 4.5, we have Link Click. Now, if you guys are tired of The Flash butchering time travel as a concept, then Link Click is your jackpot, because Link Click makes sure that time travel does not act as a plot hole magnet by making it very clear that you must never change the past, even if you go back into it. So we have our 2 protagonists, Lu Guang, who is like if Gojo and Levi had a baby and moved to China, and you have Zhang Xiaoxue, who is a golden retriever and the epitome of optimism, and then you have Xiaolian, who just owns the photo studio they work at. So with that in mind, at least for the first 2 seasons, the writing of Link Click is very, very consistent. But in the 3rd season, I feel like it falls off a bit, but it's fine since they dropped lines like, you look very tasty. So I will give Link Click a pass on that. And in terms of intimacy, Link Click gets an 8 out of 10. And in terms of plot, Link Click gets a 9 out of 10. And I highly recommend you guys check it out. Link Click is going to keep you hooked throughout its runtime of 3 seasons. Number 4 goes to Mo Dao Zu She, or Master of Deception. And I'm not gonna spoil anything about this anime because, much like Heaven Official's Blessing, this donghua revolves around possession and demons and gods and spiritual awakenings, and also just set in the royal time era of China. So, if you're an avid fan of C dramas, then Modazushi is your gold mine. And Modazushi, in terms of intimacy, gets an 8 out of 10, and in terms of plot, it gets a 9 out of 10. And also, the characters just stick with you throughout the course of 3 seasons. Modazushi keeps you thoroughly entertained. You are going to have a blast with it. I highly recommend you check out Modazushi, even lose your sleep over it. It's gonna be worth your time and the best night you ever had. I mean it. At number 3, we have Given. Now, this may come as a surprise to those of you who have watched my review on Given and how I was terribly disappointed with it, but don't get me wrong, guys, I actually love Given. Although Given just fell off in the end at what it turned out to be, Given will always have a special place in my heart because it has an outstanding music album that deserves to be on top of your Spotify playlist. And if you are tired of listening to Anuv Jain or Akshat or even Arijit Singh at some point of time, then Given is your go-to anime. So I think that Given has a set of very colorful characters, except for Akihiko, but the songs in Given just get me emotional all the time. Given deals with grief and moving on from grief and how complex your feelings towards the other person can be and how ready you are to move on from that grief. And upon rewatch, Given actually gets a bit better. So, Given in terms of intimacy gets a 9 out of 10, and in terms of plot, at least in the series, it also gets a 9 out of 10. And also, I just think Mafuyu should sort his stuff out because there is a limit to how long you can string Kageyama along, okay? You don't have to fill the runtime of the movie Mafuyu. It's okay. I will take a 15-minute OVA of just you talking to Uenoyama because that's how amazing you two are together. But over the course of the movie, Mafuyu just gets plagued with this Your Lie in April Arimakose syndrome of how he cannot hear the notes anymore, and it's kind of not explored again when he hears to the melodious song Umie, which, by the way, is really, really good. I might not have mentioned that in my review video, but I highly recommend you guys listen to it. And also, I love the intimate scenes between the side couples, except for maybe Akihiko and Haruki. If you guys are looking for a non-cliched high school musical, then Given is just for you. And if you guys love Kageyama from Haikyuu, then you have Ritsuka Uenoyama, who is just like Kageyama on guitar and is way more hotter. So I highly recommend you guys check out Given, at least the series, and you will really have a blast with it. At number 2, and I am not going to show you guys any mercy because all of us, whether you like it or not, need some kind of substitute for Your Lie in April. Okay, so I found the perfect anime for it, and I'm talking about the one and only Banana Fish. Now, Banana Fish revolves around Ash Lynx, who is easily one of the coolest 17-year-olds to ever exist in anime. Ash Lynx is smart, knows his way around the gangster hierarchy, and is dangerous as hell, and that makes him very beautiful, very hot, very handsome, and Ash Lynx has faced stuff no teenager or kid should ever go through. We are talking prostitution and sexual abuse repeatedly, considering that Ash was kinda sold off to this mafia guy when he was just 11 years old and had to endure a lot. And Ash is too badass for therapy because in one scene where this scum of the earth Colonel Fox kinda assaults him, then Ash is just like, listen, if I try to get therapy, I don't have the time or luxury for it because with this Yakuza business I am in, I might just die if I allow myself to feel well. But the relationship between Ash and AJ is just cute enough. I just wish they explored more on that dynamic, because anytime Ash and AG have an intimate conversation together, Mappa is just like, hey yo, we don't have time for this yaoi bullshit. We gotta get on with the Yakuza gangsta bullshit. And granted, Mappa did a really good job in animating Banana Fish. Like, it got the authenticity of Brooklyn on point, and the ending of Banana Fish is going to wreck you, and you will thank Banana Fish for it. Okay, I highly recommend you check out Banana Fish. I don't care if you have an important meeting the next day, but please lose your sleep over watching Banana Fish. It is totally worth it. So, in terms of plot, Banana Fish gets a 10 out of 10, and in terms of intimacy, Banana Fish gets an 8 out of 10. I just wish Mappa went more seinen with it and gave it the Vinland Saga treatment, but I think that's just me. Let's move on. And at number 1.5, we have Yuri on Ice. Now, I don't care if you guys are BL fans or no, but you should definitely watch Yuri on Ice, because this anime has a really good message, and it teaches you how to get back from rock bottom to being one of the best in the world. And that's exactly what our protagonist Yuri Katsuki does. When his mental health deteriorates after his family dog dies, Yuri Katsuki just hits rock bottom after failing in the ice skating tournament, and then it changes when he is coached by his idol, Victor. The dynamic between Yuri and Victor is fire. It will just leave you squeezing your plushie to death. I just enjoy the sexual tension that is between Yuri and Victor is literally Gojo Satoru on ice skates. So another therapy for Kit Kat Gojo, and the ice skating sequences in Yuri on Ice look really beautiful. Okay. And I'm going to adopt Yuri Plasitsky because this teenager is just too cute, and he got the ending he deserved. Good for him. And also, Yuri on Ice gets a 9.5 out of 10 for its plot, because some of the episodes just drag on with ice skating sequence after ice skating sequence, and while the camera work is amazing, I just wish they got on with this story at some point, but thankfully that does not last very long, so it is still fast paced. And if you guys are heartbroken that we did not get the movie, then don't worry, you can satisfy yourself with its spiritual sequel, Medalist, which is also a very wholesome anime. And you guys must increase your sight by watching Yuri on Ice. Rewatch it at least a billion times. It is going to hit harder each time. So, on that note, let's move on to the honorable mentions. We have Dakaichi, I Am Being Harassed by the Sexiest Man Alive. Now, controversially, I kind of enjoyed this anime because any piece of media or anime that has something to do with the entertainment industry and explores the nitty-gritties of the celebrity world, I will eat it up, be it Oshinoko or Dakaichi or Love Stage. It's the reason why I gave Bastards of Bollywood a 9.5 out of 10, because I need the tea and gossip. And it's because my parents did not allow me to be an actress. Don't cry. But Dakaichi, in terms of intimacy, gets a 9 out of 10, and in terms of plot, it gets a 6.5 out of 10, because the first 3 episodes of Dakaichi heavily rely on the concept of dubcon, and it may even look like abuse to some of you, so it may trigger you guys on that aspect. But if you can get through the first 3 episodes, then Dakaichi becomes quite a breeze to get through, because the dynamic between our main characters, Takato and Junta, is pretty entertaining to watch, and it also has a movie named Spain Arc, which hits the mark on authenticity, but it also has some problematic elements associated with it. But nevertheless, if you can tolerate the toxic BL tropes, then go ahead with Dakaichi. The same can be said for Love Stage. The next honorable mention is Sekaiichi Hatsukoi, or The World's Greatest First Love, which is a spin-off of Junjo Romantica. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think I enjoyed Junjo Romantica more than Sekaiichi Hatsukoi. Although Junjo Romantica does have its problematic elements, Sekaiichi Hatsukoi feels very, very real and more messy. And I like the fact that Sekaiichi Hatsukoi provides the inner workings of the manga industry and how our editors and authors are so overworked and they do not get sleep. But The thing is, Sekaiichi Hatsukoi kind of is slow paced at times, and you just get frustrated with the characters not being able to express their feelings. So, with that, Sekaiichi Hatsukoi, in terms of intimacy, gets a 9 out of 10, but in terms of plot, it gets a 6.5 out of 10. Let's move on. The next honorable mention is the film Tokyo Godfathers, and oh boy, this film relies so much on coincidences and Christmas miracles that it can give Home Alone a run for its money. But with that being said, Tokyo Godfathers can put a smile on your face with its quirky and over the top characters, and it will make you go through a roller coaster of emotions. You will smile, you will cry, but at the end of the film, you will just applaud it for the wholesome movie it is. And Tokyo Godfathers also has a lot of trans representation, so I find that really empowering. And I think Hana, one of the main protagonists in the movie, can make for a good mother figure. So, in terms of the plot, Tokyo Godfathers gets an 8.5 out of 10, and in terms of intimacy, it gets a 6.5 out of 10. So, if you want to watch a really good film that is capable of putting a smile on your face, then please check out Tokyo Godfathers. Let's move on. And at number 1, the best BL anime out there is Yarichin B Club. I'm kidding. It's not. Please stay away from this anime. It is not worth your time. It is just trash. You are better off watching Riverdale. Okay? The best BL anime out there, at least according to me, is Sasaki and Miyano, or at least Sasaki to Miyano if you go according to the manga. Now, Sasaki to Miyano is my very first BL anime. So, obviously, it has a very special place in my heart. It gave me a chance to research on BL, because this anime revolves around Miyano, who is a fudanshi, aka a guy who enjoys reading BL, and he is caught by his senior, Sasaki, who also takes an interest in BL, and through that, these two just explore their feelings for each other and get into a relationship. And if you are fresh off K-dramas, then this anime is your jackpot, because it might feel slow at first with its slice of life tone, but it keeps you thoroughly entertained, and the payoff when Sasaki and Miyano get together is very, very wholesome. And also, it throws a lot of BL related terms at you, like seme, who is the top, uke, bottom, moe, and fujoshi. So, obviously, it gave me a chance to research on these terms and get deeper into the yaoi genre. So, I'm really grateful to Sasaki and Miyano for it. And in terms of intimacy, Sasaki and Miyano gets an 8.5 out of 10. And in terms of plot, it gets a 9 out of 10. So, with that, we come to the end of the BL anime lineup. What did you guys think of this ranking? Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? I would love to know if you have your own top 10 BL anime in the comments down below. And if you also have some recommendations, feel free to suggest it. Now, you guys might be thinking, why yaoi? Why do I talk about yaoi so much on my channel? Because 1, it is my favorite genre, and 2, I think all problems in anime can be solved with our main characters being gay. You guys don't believe me? I'll give you a few examples. Let's take Berserk, okay? Now, if Guts had feelings for Griffith, he would have never left the Band of Hawks. He would have stayed by Griffith's side just like Griffith wanted, and he would have helped achieve Griffith's dreams. So Griffith would be on top of the world, the eclipse would have never happened, Casca would have never suffered, and Berserk wouldn't be the most depressing manga out there. Next, we have Attack on Titan. Now, if Eren had the hots for Levi and not Mikasa, mind you, then it would mean the world to him. Because whether your parents accept you or don't accept you, okay? Acceptance from Captain Levi means everything, okay? So Eren would just be like, okay, Captain Levi, I will not go through with this genocide plan because obviously it doesn't make you happy. So as long as you're there with me, I will live out the rest of my limited lifespan with you. So let's just be in a relationship together, and Attack on Titan would still be a masterpiece in my eyes without the genocide angle. Next example, Gojo and Geto from JJK. Okay, bad example, but the thing is, if Gege Akutami actually wrote this to be canon, then maybe Gojo would have tried a little bit harder, and maybe Geto wouldn't have gotten to the dark side. Who knows, it can play out anyway. But let's move on to another example, Monsters. Now, if Johann Liebert had a thing for Tenma, then he wouldn't be this nihilistic, okay? He would waste those strategies on Tenma being in this sort of twisted relationship with him, and so Johann Liebert would be less terrifying as a villain and would not go on a murder spree and would not plan his grand suicide, because he's just like, hey man, I just got a crush on Tenma and I really want him to be behind me, so like, why would I do the most atrocious thing of committing suicide and just wrecking chaos everywhere? I will even leave my sister for Tenma. I really should write fiction on this. Next, we have Death Note. Now, if Light had the hots for L, then he would forget about the Death Note and he would use his sociopathic tendencies to get close to L, and they would be in a toxic relationship, sure, but it is much better than L actually not dying, right? And next, we have Metamorphosis. Now, if every guy in Saki's life was gay, then Saki wouldn't have gone through the suffering that she did in the manga. So Metamorphosis would not be a depressing manga at all, because all the guys in Saki's life are busy being in love with other guys. So naturally Saki would feel a little depressed about it, sure, but at least she would be a normal teenager. And then we have Oyasumi Punpun. So if Punpun was gay, he wouldn't have looked at Aiko's side and his life would not be in this downward spiral like it does in the manga, and Punpun would have just fallen in love with his classmate he meets at the end of the manga and lead a happy life. And Oyasumi Punpun would not give you depression for days. Next example, Tokyo Ghoul. Now, if Kaneki was gay, he would have fallen for his best friend and would not have gone on a date with that girl. So, Kaneki would be a normal high schooler and he would have led a normal life. Now, I know those of you who have watched Tokyo Ghoul love the crazy deranged Kaneki. I do too, but ultimately I care about this kid's mental health, okay? I do not want this kid to go through any more torture, especially what he faced in the first season. So, to spare Kaneki from that, I really think Kaneki should have the hots for his best friend. And if you guys still don't find yourself agreeing with me, then feel free to debate with me in the comments down below. But before that, you must remember who my dad is. Do you see the resemblance? If you don't, just turn on Republic TV and watch it for 10 minutes.
Apologize!
Why you have not included Muslims?
Apologize!
Why you have not
Apologize
included
on my
Muslims?
program!
It is
Apologize
against
on my
Article 14 of the
program!
Indian
On that note, thank you so much for making it till here. I cannot appreciate you enough, and I can't tell you how much it means to me. So if you have enjoyed this video, then please comment down below, and I'll see you next time. Arigatou gozaimashita. Kiyotsukete.